From players pulling dirty, sneaky moves on purpose, to golf scandals so disrespectful they were immediately banned from the tour. These are the 15 dirtiest moments in golf history. And first, we start with number 15. Now, you probably wouldn't expect to see this guy on a list like this. Sure, he's controversial, but he's also one of the most beloved figures in golf. But let me tell you, the incidents speak for themselves. His no-nonsense attitude might be entertaining, but it doesn't make his actions any less dirty. Let's rewind to the 2002 Australian PGA. Daley blows up on the final hole, cards a triple bogey, and completely loses it. He chucks his putter into a pond, hurls his ball in right after it, and storms off the course without even signing his scorecard. That's not frustration. That's giving the rules a giant middle finger. And if you think that was a one-off, think again. In 1999 at the US Open, Daley snapped over Pinehurst's lightning-fast greens, and when his ball started rolling back to him after a putt, he just smacked it while it was still moving, earning a 2-stroke penalty. The guy treated the rulebook like it was optional reading. And we haven't even mentioned the time in 2008 when he smashed a fan's camera into a tree during the Australian Open. Why? Because the guy took a photo without asking. Daley's response? No apology, just he got what he deserved. Look, Daley had the talent to be a legend, but he chose chaos over greatness. Showing up drunk, skipping tee times, quitting mid-round, smashing clubs. He didn't just bend the rules, he lit them on fire. Fans love the show, but make no mistake. When you're ready to destroy your own tournament just to make a scene, you've earned your spot on this list. Next up at number 14, we've got Bryson DeChambeau. Look, Bryson's not your typical dirty player who breaks rules left and right. But this guy plays serious mental games with his ultra-slow routine and constant arguments with officials. His fellow pros were calling him a single-minded twit and saying he was disrespecting other players. For example, at the WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational, he actually called a rules official over because he claimed there were fire ants near his ball and wanted relief from a dangerous situation. He spent nearly 3 minutes trying to convince the official, pointing at the ground saying, "It's a different color. It looks like an ant hole." The official wasn't buying it, said he didn't see any fire ants that would constitute a dangerous situation. Brooks Koepka couldn't resist trolling him later, pointing at the ground with his club saying, "There's an ant," to his caddy.
There's an ant.
Then there's the rope incident. At Live Golf Chicago, DeChambeau tried to duck under a gallery rope after hitting a great shot, but completely misjudged it and took the rope straight to the face. He immediately dropped to the ground, started swearing, and looked completely shaken up. Later, he made a spoof video showing himself successfully ducking under a rope, which got roasted by Vijay Singh and other pros on social media. Man, that's humbling. At number 13, we have a guy who likes to add a little fuel to the fire. Yes, he might be young, but this kid knows how to get under people's skin. But what Tom Kim did might just be one of the dirtiest moves we've ever seen. At the 2024 President's Cup, Kim drains a long birdie putt on the 7th hole and goes absolutely wild, doing a pirouette, screaming, "Let's go," and celebrating like he just won a major. But here's the problem. Scottie Scheffler, the world's #1 player, still has his own birdie putt to tie the hole. Scheffler makes his putt and fires right back at Kim, shouting, "What was that?" But Kim wasn't done stirring the pot. On the very next hole, after making another birdie, Kim and his partner, Sungjae Im, just walked straight off the green and headed to the next tee, while Scheffler still had a 15-foot putt to tie the hole. Sky Sports analyst Paul McGinley called it disrespectful behavior. Can you imagine doing that to the world's best player? Then at the FedEx St. Jude Championship, Kim missed a short birdie putt on the 12th hole and completely lost it, swinging his putter into the green and leaving a huge gouge in the putting surface. It wouldn't have been a big deal if it weren't for what happened next. He walked off without fixing the damage, leaving it for his caddy to repair later. Golf fans were calling his behavior disgusting, and he went from being one of the most likable players on tour to public enemy #1 almost overnight. At number 11, what started as business as usual quickly turned into one of the most blatantly disrespectful moments we've seen on a golf course. First, we're at the 2021 Ryder Cup. Brooks's partner Daniel Berger hit into some thick grass near a bunker, and Brooks thought there was a drain that would interfere with his swing. When rules official David Price refused to give him relief, Brooks went off. "Have you ever seen me hit a ball? Don't you think my club might hit right there?" Still not satisfied, he demanded a second opinion from another official who also said no. That's when Brooks completely lost it. "If I break my wrist, this is on f***ing both of you," he told the officials, pointing right at them. The whole thing took nearly 10 minutes and had everyone, including opponent Sergio Garcia, laughing at how worked up he got. But the Ryder Cup meltdown was just the tip of the iceberg. Brooks has a whole history of crossing the line, and nowhere was that more obvious than in his petty, years-long feud with Bryson DeChambeau. Sure, it started with a jab about slow play, but Brooks didn't just let it go. Oh no, he stoked the fire every chance he got. Remember the 2021 PGA Championship? Bryson casually walks behind him during a live interview, and Brooks reacts like someone just insulted his entire bloodline. Full-on eye roll, muttering curses on camera, the works. But the real dirt came later. Brooks didn't just dislike Bryson. He practically deployed golf fans as weapons. He straight up encouraged them to shout "Brooksy" at Bryson mid-round, fully knowing it would get under his skin. And when things started getting out of hand, Brooks just smirked and said he'd buy beers for anyone who kept doing it. Talking about dirty games? Sliding in at number 10. If you talk about dirty plays, this guy doesn't come to mind in the first place, but mention his name, and most pros roll their eyes. Most players have a pre-shot routine, but Kevin Na has a full-blown theatrical performance that makes watching paint dry feel like action-packed entertainment. Like, for example, at the 2012 Players' Championship, Na became the poster boy for everything wrong with slow play in golf. His pre-shot routine was pure madness. A little waggle, half waggle, little waggle, half waggle, and then boom, supposed to pull the trigger. But if it doesn't work, I've got to go in pairs. So it'll go 4, and if that doesn't work, it'll go 6. That's literally what's going on in his head. He'd take multiple practice swings, even swing over the ball without hitting it, and then start the whole process over again. Imagine being stuck behind this guy for 18 holes. But Kevin's weird golf moments go way beyond just slow play. Back in 2011 at the Valero Texas Open, he made a 16 on a par 4 hole, the worst score ever recorded on a par 4 in PGA Tour history. He hit his drive into the woods, declared it unplayable, went back to the tee, then hit it right back to the same spot. During this mess, his ball even hit him, earning a penalty stroke. Now sure, it might all seem unintentional, but when the entire field's complaining and you keep pulling the same tricks, it stops being innocent and starts looking like sneaky, dirty games. Crashing in at number 9, we've got a throwback meltdown so wild, it practically rewrote golf's rulebook. This guy was so legendary, they literally had to create a rule to stop him. No, really. In fact, Bolt helicoptered clubs so frequently that it was actually news when he didn't have an outburst. His antics got so bad that the PGA Tour created the Tommy Bolt rule in 1957 specifically to ban club throwing. The very day after the rule went into effect, Bolt flung a putter skyward because he wanted to be the first person fined under his own rule. This guy was nuts. But Tommy's dirty behavior wasn't just limited to airborne equipment. At the 1959 Memphis Open, Bolt was fined $250 for conduct unbecoming a professional after he, listen to this, farted loudly just as another golfer was about to putt. When confronted about it, Bolt apparently told the officials they were taking all the fun out of the game. That's quite literally a dirty player. But if we're going to remember him for anything, let it be for his wise advice. Like when he told us, never break your putter and your driver in the same round or you're dead. Wise man. At number 8, we've got outbursts so aggressive they made you wonder if the guy was trying to scare the ball into the hole. Take the 2025 PGA Championship at Quail Hollow, for example. After hitting his drive straight into the water, Tyrrell Hatton completely lost it and dropped the C word live on TV. And that was just the night after he'd already let out a very clear F-bomb after missing a green. But his rage isn't just words. At the 2024 DP World Tour Championship in Dubai, after a bad approach shot on the 14th hole, he slammed his 9-iron into the ground so hard it snapped in two. Yep, he was left holding a broken club and a fine. And at the 2021 British Open, he flipped off a spectator during a putt and later broke another club after a poor shot. The broadcasters have gotten so used to his colorful language that ESPN now mutes his mic during coverage to avoid having to say sorry for what he's saying. At this rate, they're going to have to slap a PG rating on golf broadcasts just for Hatton alone. At number 7, we're not talking about one dirty play. We're talking about a whole career surrounded by smoke. One of his lowest moments came back in 1985, at just 22 years old. Vijay Singh was in danger of missing the cut at the Indonesian Open. Somehow, between finishing and signing his scorecard, he improved his score by 1 stroke, just enough to make the cut. An official caught it, and Singh was disqualified and slapped with an indefinite suspension by the Southeast Asian Golf Federation. Around the same time, he was also banned from the Australian PGA over unpaid loans. Singh always denied cheating, but the ban forced him to spend 2 years working as a club pro in remote Borneo. But we're not done yet, because one of his most cringe-worthy incidents happened in 2003 at Colonial Club. When Annika Sorenstam became the first woman to play on the PGA Tour in decades, Singh was caught on record saying she didn't belong here. The money goes to guys making a living. That wasn't just a gaffe. It came off as cold, exclusionary, and downright disrespectful. And off the course? VJ didn't exactly win people over either. He was cold with fans, short with reporters, and acted like everyone was wasting his time. His work ethic was legendary, but so was his attitude. If you weren't in his circle, you probably got a death stare instead of a handshake. At number 6, we've got behind-the-scenes behavior so controversial, it shattered the polished image the cameras captured. Gary Player, the so-called gentleman of golf, won 9 majors and built a global reputation with his intense fitness and discipline. But several of his peers have called out moments that suggest there was a different side to his game, one that bent the rules when it counted most. The most talked about moment came at the 1983 Skins game, with $120,000 on the line. Tom Watson claimed Player moved a rooted leaf behind his ball to improve his lie before a chip shot on the 16th. According to Watson, Player bent down, flattened the leaf with his hand, and it popped right back up, proving it was rooted. After the round, Watson didn't hold back. He confronted Player in front of Jack Nicklaus and rules official Joe Day, accusing him directly of cheating. Player denied it, saying the leaf was loose and he did nothing wrong. The only reason any of us know about it is because a New York Times columnist overheard the whole thing. And that wasn't the only suspicious moment in Player's career. At the 1974 Open Championship, he hit into the deep rough on 17, and just before the 5-minute limit, his ball was somehow found. Then on 18, some said he brushed sand or dirt behind his ball to improve the lie. No official penalties were handed out, but the whispers never really went away. So yeah, Gary Player might have looked like golf's ultimate gentleman. Coming in at number 5, we've got Billy Horschel, a guy who's earned a reputation as one of the angriest players on tour, and not in a fun, passionate way. His outbursts have become legendary for all the wrong reasons, and one of these reasons happened at the 2021 Masters. After a bad chip on the 7th hole, cameras caught Horschel absolutely hammering his wedge into his golf bag over and over, like he was trying to break it in half. And that was just the beginning. He went on to triple bogey the 13th, double bogey the 18th, and throw in a bunch of wild gestures and club slams along the way. The video went viral fast, and it's basically him losing it, like his clubs personally betrayed him. But this wasn't some one-off meltdown. The very next year, at the 2022 Masters, he launched a club into the ground after hitting a shot into the pond on 11. He made a birdie on 12, only to dunk another ball in the water on 13. It's like he just can't help himself when things go south. But it's not just an Augusta thing, because even beyond the tantrums, Horschel's had some sportsmanship issues too. At the 2024 BMW PGA Championship, after winning in a playoff, he reportedly snubbed a rules official during the post-round handshake, someone who had literally helped him out during the round. Lucky for him that golf doesn't give out yellow cards, he'd be playing half his rounds on probation. Now at number 4, we've got a history of eyebrow-raising behavior that had more than one player losing their cool. Let's start with the moment that still follows him around, the 2005 Indonesian Open. Colin Montgomery found himself in a brutal bunker lying near the 14th green when lightning forced play to stop. He left the ball where it was. No marker, just walked off. When he came back the next day, the ball was gone. Stolen? Disappeared? Who knows? But then, Monty chatted with his playing partners and estimated where the ball had been. But video later showed he placed it about a foot away from the original spot, in a much better position. Suddenly, what had been a tough stance with 1 foot in and 1 foot out of the bunker became a clean, simple shot. The European Tour Players Committee wasn't having it. They formally rebuked him, which almost never happens, and grilled him for half an hour. To his credit, Monty later watched the footage, admitted he got the spot wrong. And honestly, the sketchy ball drop was just the tip of the iceberg. Monty had a reputation for being Let's say, not the most pleasant guy to play with. He was nicknamed Grumpy for a reason. If a fan so much as breathed too loud, he'd stop and call them out in front of everyone. Number 3 takes us to probably the most hated player on the course. This man needs no intro. Let's go right into it. So, it's 2005, final round of the Booz Allen Classic. Rory Sabatini is paired with Ben Crane, who's known for playing slower than a Windows 98 reboot. After getting put on the clock for slow play, Sabatini completely lost it. On the 17th hole, after hitting his approach shot into the water, he didn't even wait for Crane to hit his second shot. He walked all the way around the green, took his drop, chipped on, putted out, and just left. Straight to the 18th tee, leaving Crane standing there like, did I miss something? The crowd was mad. Sabatini got booed loudly on both the 17th and 18th holes. And honestly, he earned every one of them. But believe it or not, that was just the beginning. At the Transitions tournament, Sabatini snapped at someone for talking during his backswing, even though no one actually said anything. A nearby caddy even gave him the classic, "Are you serious?" At Riviera, he tore into a 16-year-old volunteer who marked his ball with a soda can. The kid looked like he wanted to disappear into the grass. The tour eventually made Sabatini apologize. And then there was the time in 2011 at the Zurich Classic where he got into a heated, expletive-filled argument with Sean O'Hare. Nobody even knows why. That same year, he made headlines for having beef with Tiger Woods. After losing to him at the 2007 Wachovia Championship, Sabatini declared that Tiger was more beatable than ever. Yeah, right. At number 2, we've got a guy who might just be golf's true villain. He's officially second on this list, but with the way he's bent rules, snapped clubs, and disrespected opponents, he could have easily been number 1. Let's go back to the 2019 Saudi International. Sergio Garcia got disqualified for serious misconduct after fellow players accused him of purposely damaging greens during his 3rd round. Reports say he wrecked 5 different greens, with players in the groups behind him all complaining to officials about the mess he left on the putting surfaces. The European Tour didn't mess around. They slapped him with a disqualification. The damage was so bad, other pros were furious about having to putt on those trashed greens. And that's not even the worst of it. Back in 2007 at the WGCCA Championship, Garcia spat into the bottom of the cup after 3-putting for bogey. When asked about it, he shrugged it off, saying it was no big deal, and that his spit landed in the middle of the hole so no one else would be affected. PGA Tour Commissioner Tim Fincham wasn't impressed. He said they try to avoid conduct that creates a negative for the fans and a distraction for the media. Garcia is also famous for his club-throwing meltdowns. At that same 2019 Saudi event, he threw a massive tantrum in a bunker, attacking the sand because he was pissed about how it had been raked. Over the years, he's thrown shoes at ads, kicked at referees, and even tomahawked a club into a lake. Honestly, maybe he's just a toddler trapped inside a pro golfer. And finally, number 1. How could we not include this guy in a list of the dirtiest, most disrespectful moments to ever hit a golf course? He's undeniably talented, but let's just say, his reputation didn't come from birdies alone. The dude's been accused of cheating at pretty much every level, from college all the way to the pros. At the 2019 Hero World Challenge, Reed was caught on camera taking practice swings in a waste bunker, and twice he clearly moved sand behind his ball, improving his lie before hitting the shot. Yep, that's a straight-up rules violation. He got hit with a 2-stroke penalty that cost him the tournament, finishing just 2 shots behind the winner, Henrik Stenson. But Reed wasn't done stirring up trouble. At the 2021 Farmers Insurance Open, he claimed his ball was embedded in the rough and picked it up before calling a rules official. That's another big no. TV replays showed the ball actually bounced knee-high before settling, making it pretty clear it wasn't embedded at all. And let's not forget the team drama. During the 2018 Ryder Cup, Reed caused a full-blown media storm after throwing his own teammates under the bus. He publicly called out Jordan Spieth for not wanting to be paired with him, and even criticized Captain Jim Furyk's decision-making. Most players keep that stuff behind closed doors. Reed blasted it across headlines like it was nothing. And this stuff isn't new for him. Reed left the University of Georgia under a cloud. Teammates accused him of cheating and even stealing equipment and cash. That's about as low as it gets. But when you've got a lifetime of suspicious behavior, teammates turning on you, and other pros openly calling you a cheater on live radio, you've earned your spot as golf's dirtiest player. Oh, and now you're still with us. We have another great golf video for you to watch right in the middle of the screen. Enjoy.